Right, ladies and gentlemen of Twitch chat, here we go with game number 1 of your April Nova Cup semi-finals. We have the Updogs, that is Drachir, and FC Lucy on the left, and they are up against Team Nice Luck, that is Adamus and Isolde on the right. Let's go!
Yeah, let's hop into it. Looks like Adamus and Genome already losing in the load screen.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough competition, the loading screen. Let's see, can Adamus make it to the finish line? He's loading, he's loading, he's loading, he's loading, he's in! Let's go!
Alright, we have Lone, Hero, and Battle Scars. Honestly, if you were to play something slow like Castle or Chaos, this would be a pretty good selection for it.
And there's the Chaos that you said, yeah. So he's not phased for being out chaosed by Nictia yesterday. He's saying he's going to pull this one out against the Updogs. He's showing no fear. I love to see it. And he's rewarded with that Priestess. Very solid opener for Chaos because you compare it with just about anything for a successful build.
Yeah, and Genome has pretty good late game. I mean, I see APS Shadow Dancer in his role.
And Butcher as well, and good tanks as well, and a Berserker to cover him on like 10 and 13 and 18. That's a roll right there.
Yeah, if I'm in Genome's head, I'm saying he's starting Slime Mommy. It's got pretty good tools to support it. He has a Devilfish and Harpy for 4. Yep. And then he can transition into that build we're talking about with, you know, the Zerker, the Mudman, the Dancer, the APS, just a really strong late game.
I can see
and Lucy didn't even go with the Angler, letting Drach take care of that part of it. Yeah. Although Drach's not even starting with the Angler, he's actually going to go with my favorite opener, the Archer, which is also quite strong.
Starts with the Berserker, which is what I was thinking as well, actually, because the Berserker,
yeah, that's solid.
You just add like a Devilfish on wave 3, and you're really strong then for the first 6 waves.
Yeah, for sure.
Lucy also matching the Berserker opener, so no particularly aggressive openers. Everyone's going for a fairly stable 4-worker opener.
You see what Adamus has in his Chaos role?
Oh,
like an absolute beast.
But now he needs to make a decision, actually, because, you know, he's Chaos, so he can't guarantee he's going to get the mask again. But you really want to be pushing workers, so is he going to drop a mask here? And he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just gonna get the job done real quick. Yeah.
So he's overbuilding a little bit here, which looks a bit funny. But of course he's Chaos, and the power level of that Priestess mask is just so strong that it really makes sense to overbuild here to guarantee that you have it for later.
Yeah, you basically have 4 chances to get it in time. So it's not completely unreasonable, but it's a little unreasonable.
Yeah.
So everyone's pretty much playing 5-work openers besides Adamus. Can probably go 6. Well, actually Drachir is going to go 6 because it's a Zerker sending him, and he has Garg.
Yeah, reasonable.
So probably they don't get to the 40. That's usually the problem with Zerker by itself. It barely misses the 40, but I think they might get it this time. Yeah, and they do. So Drachir could possibly leak, but probably shouldn't as long as his aggro is good. And we see that
Go ahead.
Seraphim you're talking about. We see that False Maiden for Lucy. So both these Zerkers openers have a pretty good solution.
And with the double Gargoyle, Drachir's looking very safe here despite the 6 workers.
How does this do after the latest Priestess nerf?
I think with the addition of the Fist, it's kind of doing okay, but it should be a small leak. Maybe only the Lizard will have to see if she gets this 3rd heal off here. And the Priestess is healing. Okay. So it pretty much cleans up everything apart from the Lizard now. Maybe it's even a full hold. Drakir's leaking small. Adam's leaking the Lizard as well. Lucy's holding. Genome's holding. This is fine. This is pretty standard.
Yeah, no, everyone's 7 workers. Maybe a little edge to Drachir and Adamus for being 6 workers earlier, but not a huge gap. Although there's actually a small difference between Genome and Lucy because she killed her. She got the gold for the 6th and the 7th worker slower than he did.
Okay, very, very slight differences there, but these things add up.
Yeah, and Genome going for a resend, it's definitely something that can catch Archer off guard. You know, if he really just like had added like another Garg here, he'd be in trouble. But I mean, Drachir knows what's happening. He sees that Gen can be 7 workers.
Yep.
So, makes sense to build here. He's already got a huge worker lead, doesn't need to keep pushing it.
Yeah, and the gate guard is just very solid on wave 5 as well, which is where his build was otherwise looking weak. And 6, of course, so it's a pretty solid addition here. He may even feel comfortable enough to push up to 8 or 9 workers after this resend.
Yep.
And he does, but so does Adams.
Yeah, both these players are pretty high, and Adams has been saving on Lucy, targeting that weak wave 5, and Lucy doesn't have the best options here.
He's just going for an income send, though. There's no imps to be seen. And Lucy is going to add 2 Windhawks, I guess?
Yeah, she could also go for a steed, I guess, but I think 2 Windhawks is probably the most sensible option.
Yeah. And having that Windhawk in the split as well is going to enable the mask to deal damage. It's obviously not good damage on wave 5. Oh, never mind, she puts it on the right-hand side. But that mask should live, actually. It won't tank very much, if anything. Yeah, it doesn't tank at all. So this is a 120 send against Lucy. The Berserker is taking quite a lot of aggro, but both Windhawks split tanking as well. They should all survive for a long time, able to deal as much damage as possible, but now the Berserker is down. The Windhawks soon to follow. How can this mask, can it kill anything? There's a couple of creeps, very low HP there. Does get one, does get 2, very nice. 47% there for Lucy.
Yep.
I think she's very happy with that result from 120 send on her weakest wave.
Yeah, she'll be okay with that, although she does have to worry about this 7 now, because double Windhawk definitely leaves you a little vulnerable there, but and she's going to be
She knows all about it. She knows she's weak on 7. She upgrades the Hellraiser, which makes her very strong there, actually. But here's some sends coming out again. Drachir with the 100 send into Adams. He does, of course, make the red mask, so he's going to be very fine. And Genom sending a dino of his own into Drachir. But yeah, Drachir has this Harbinger, so he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, Genom has a pretty clean build that's letting him push quite a bit, because he really doesn't need... He probably just needs the Slime Army for next, and he's pretty okay. He needs to worry about 8, obviously. That's probably where he's weakest right now. But he has the potential to shift for the Dancer if he wants, which might be his solution.
Yeah, it's kind of rough for him to shift on 7, though, because Lucy did skip here. She's got 100 Mythium. She'll get 20 more post-income. Does she send, though? No, Lucy is starving. Okay, this will be interesting now, then. Does Genom read the starve and shift some Mythium? He does not. He's dropping a couple of Harpies, which, in fairness, the Harpies are fine, I guess, on wave 8. Yeah. But the Shadow Dancer would be better.
Yeah, for sure. And Drachir is just pushed full off that send from Genom.
Yeah.
He could still get punished on 8, but he should be fine as long as he has some inkling that Genom needs to send.
Yeah, I think Drachir has enough gold to get the Trinity Archer out. He's shifting 34 gold here. He's got good income. There's 120 gold from the wave. I think, like, if he sends a DT or something, he's guaranteed getting that Trinity Archer.
Yeah, and that'll set him up perfectly for wave 8, so...
And there's the Lizard send. So Drachir knows he needs the gold. He goes for the income send. Pretty standard stuff, but it will give him the Trinity Archer and make him pretty much unleakable on wave 8.
Yep. So actually a Triad send for him down here, using the Mimic, which is pretty good against the Zerker, because the Zerker ends up doing mostly magic damage.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the Mimic is pretty tough.
That's a lot of death, though. And again, it is magic damage into the Mimic, so the Mimic can tank this right side for a while, with only the Windhawks really doing good damage against the Mimic. But, I mean, Lucy just has value, right? She's on nearly 1,000 value. She's got okay, but not perfect units for the wave. And we'll have to see what happens, because this is a fairly big send now coming out from the Dams.
Yeah, and I think we should also note that Genom is 120 under here with not the best units, and it's only income, but it is a pretty big income send.
Yeah. And the income is not even that bad, honestly. Like, it takes a long time for the Sky Queen and the Berserker to kill the Dino, and the Lizard is just providing infinite damage against the Slime Mummy. I think that could be a pretty good leak on Genom, actually. The Sky Queen is tanking here, but some very nice split focus with those blobs. He's doing pretty well. Yeah. Let's check in on Lucy. How did she do against that Mimic? It looks like very well, actually. She's going to leak, but small. Genom does leak 35% over there, and Lucy, 17% against the Mimic here. She's, again, very happy with that result.
Yeah, her choice to overbuild earlier on 6 ends up letting her, do perfectly fine here on 8. She had maybe like with a little better split tanking between her Hellraiser and her LOD at the end. She could have
Yep.
gone full hold, but I mean, she'll take that.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. For the send that she got, that result is pretty good. And Jenham did leak more to a full income send as well, so good trade there for the Updogs.
Ooh, and Lucy's going for a brute resend.
She doesn't get a
But
second one, so it's only going to be 100 send. And Jenham, I mean, Jenham doesn't add anything, so he's not
yeah,
expecting the try hard resend, but here it comes.
and Adamas is building for 10, has a tantrum, but added only a halo here. Should be okay as long as Aziria tanks well.
Yeah, and the
And it
Aziria
looks
is
like it's
living
doing a good
against the
job.
left-hand split, so the Aziria
Ooh,
has
the
done very well there. He
blob
looks
didn't quite
completely
get
fine.
everything. Oh, but yeah,
Jenham,
Venom,
yeah,
good raid by Lucy here.
wasn't expecting that brute resend. 60% leak for Jenham, and Adams, how are you doing against your send? It looks like he's going to hold, but with only
Yeah.
a very low HP Halo remaining, he's not going to be able to cover any of Jenham's leak in the mid.
Yeah, that's a little bit of king damage, but I think it'll be okay since they have quite a bit of Mithium themselves, and they could go for a 10-10, and it looks like Adamas wants to, and Venom going for Mole Dino versus the Trinity.
Yeah.
Mole is definitely very efficient. I think he should have just gone for Ogre, but because the way the Trinity is shooting, the Ogre ends up being a really strong fortified tank versus it. But oh,
Yeah.
we got the solution to 10.
Yeah, the
Very
Royal
hard to leak
Guards.
this
Oh,
unit.
yeah, yeah. Lucy's easily holding here. There is another Mimic coming out from Adams, but I think that's very hopeful. The one thing I'll say is that there's only a Steed stood in front of that
Mhm.
Fatalizer, so it should tank pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the thing with right side Fatalizer and the boss going right is it goes on the boss right away, so it means that it probably doesn't have a chance to hit the Mimic, which is often sometimes,
Oh,
well, someone's
Windwalk's
hitting the Mimic.
both tanking for the Fatalizer, though. That's a really good outcome, actually.
It is getting kind of melted by this Mimic and the
Melted. I
boss,
think the Lord
so
of
it is
Death
going to
was
be a small leak.
It's a small leak, but
And I
again, she's
think
fine
the
with that.
same for Drachir.
Yeah.
He'll
Is
finish
he gonna
off the
kill the
mole.
He is
Yeah,
just
but
31% Drachir, 38% Lucy. Adam's leaking 20% against the income, but Jen will fully cover. This might be the
yeah.
first meaningful king damage here in game number 1.
Yeah, and as we all know with Tenacity, getting that first little bit of king damage is very, very important.
I
So
mean, it's not even a
we'll
little
see.
bit. They lost 35% king HP there. They're down to below 2/3.
Yeah, I think maybe a little over trusting this Fatalizer, and it ended up hurting them a little bit. But
Yeah. It really
I
comes down to
think
the
most
lack of
people.
tanks, right? Like, the Fatalizer, as we've said, is amazing on wave 10, but if it doesn't get
Mhm.
the time to ramp up its damage, it can just die, as we've seen. So,
Yeah, I mean we have these 3 units that couldn't do much to help it.
yeah.
So
There's a lot of gold in non-supporting
double
units for the
here.
Fatalizer there on wave 10. And they're paying for it, you know? They've lost a lot of king HP.
I wonder what's going on. Okay, battle scars really okay. Interesting.
Scars for Jenham.
Probably gonna go on the Theta, which is good value if he's guessing that it's a
Oh, I know why though,
13
because what he
set?
really wants is for that Dread Knight to start stacking battle scars.
Oh, okay,
Once you have
okay,
it
yeah.
upgraded to Dread Knight, it nearly always takes the battle scars because the clones count towards the damage taken.
I see.
So it's like almost guaranteed to get the stacks, and it's just a beast when it has attack speed.
Yeah, I mean that checks out. He also still has his reroll. Maybe he can refine that APS he ditched earlier.
Yeah. And Drachir, of course, with his cartel, that cartel penalty has kicked in here, but he's still keeping up with everyone in terms of income. In fact, he's ahead of his partner, Lucy, there by 10 income. So Lucy, it seems, had a pretty rough early game.
Yeah, definitely getting the bigger sends and saving longer than Drachir, which is unusual, I'd say, for their partnership. Usually it's the other way around, but they're both not too far behind their respective counterparts.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I can see it. Like, if you look at the roles, I think Drachir has a much better late game role than Lucy does.
Mhm.
So if you want to do a kind of support carry play style, it's definitely Drachir's role that you want to be supporting, and you want him to be the late game powerhouse. Whereas Lucy, I mean, her role's fine, but it definitely peters off.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially now that she's rolled away that Lord of Death as well.
And people, there are some big Mythium counts, but there are also some very strong 13 builds and weaker 14 builds, so I imagine we're gonna see a skip.
Yeah, all 4 players holding their nerve, nobody feeling the pressure to send here. Drachir does pull out a full Sovereign on the APS hero aura there, by the way.
That's, I mean, it means that the Archer's not really gonna split tank, but I think it's worth it when you can get the APS and the hero on it.
Yeah, 100%. And they were probably hoping for a send here on wave 13 because Drachir did full shift there on wave 12 to get this Sovereign out on the hero aura, but there's no send coming.
Yeah, and they're even a little bit worried Lucy full building for this wave.
They're even doing some king ups as well, so Drachir and Lucy really were feeling the pressure here on wave 13, but no send is coming. And now, with those king ups, sure, it's only 80 Mythium, but it does give that slight edge to Adams and Jenem, who fully held their nerve here.
Yeah, I will say Drachir at least is the highest worker, so he shouldn't be too far behind in Mythium, given how long he was on 20 workers compared to everyone.
And now all 4 players are pulling the trigger. We've got some big sends coming out here on wave 14. Who do you think has the best build to be able to hold here? And why is it Drachir?
I mean, it definitely looks like Drachir, and he's getting double 4-eye, which is pretty good against the Sovereign, but not that good against the rest of his units. I wonder if Jenem can get to that mole, because that is the big counter to the archers. If there's no mold, he's going to easy hold, right?
I think Jenem's just going to be just shy. It looks like he'll top out about 100 Mythium, and yeah, he goes.
Yeah, and he can only get the Hermit. And I think that gives Drachir some chances, but if we have to say Adamas is on the highest value,
yeah,
his Azura isn't tanking perfectly, but he does get to just snipe one of the ogres, so that certainly helps.
Yeah, the Azura is definitely not tanking perfectly there. She seems to be very high health. She didn't like drop low enough to fully use her ability, and maybe Adams is going to leak as a result.
Yeah, like I think there might just be a full hold angle here.
And Lucy's leaking 111%, Adams 77%, and Jenem leaking 51% as well. Meanwhile, Drachir was able to fully hold his own lane. He only has 1 archer in the mid, but it's going to hold a couple of Lucy's leaks there. And on the other side, 13 creeps reaching the king.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the double 4-eye was the best. I can't think of the best send. Like maybe just Needler and like Pack Mole or something.
Yeah,
but missing the
or something like this. Centaur Mole is looking pretty healthy against Drachir.
Some sort of Pyrrhus seemed better. It's not like the Sovereign has healing, so it's not like you need to kill it quick. I'm curious who got the Battle Scar stacks for Jenem. Not his DK, it looks like, because you didn't have it yet on 14, so that's probably...
has 2 stacks, and the Head Chef has 2 stacks, so yeah, no stacks on the Dread Knight, but it is now built here on wave 15. He's changing his mind, he's not sure. I think he should upgrade it, because you really want to start getting those Battle Scar stacks.
He's thinking of hiding his value, and looks like nobody pushed too hard. The Drachir's playing 220 over, showing his value even. Maybe wanting them to go 17.
Yeah.
But it does feel like Lucy will be the weakest out of everyone on 17.
Yeah, for sure.
She has the Haven now, I guess, but
it's not going to be too inspiring. I think Jenem is trying to beta send on wave 16. We'll have to see if Drachir and Lucy fall for that, because he's going to be adding a lot of value here on 16. And no, they don't.
Yeah, I think the thing is
this Slime Siren just took a Battle Scar stack, by the way.
And he wanted to go with the flower bait, but it's not gonna work. It's not like flower is bad. Like it'll be a fine tank for the DK, but it's not gonna be quite the play he wanted.
No, really nice try there though by Jenem. That's it's very good to signal that you full push, try to bait this end out of the Updogs here on wave 16, where you're actually very strong. But they didn't fall for it. You know, these guys are experienced themselves. They know all the tricks. Oh,
look at these. That is some juicy value. Hero, Tree of Life, Kingpin, and Sovereign. Kind of bad since the Sovereign is now gonna tank on 17 before the Kingpin, but I mean, what can you do? He had to build for the current wave. Was his estimation.
Dark Mage is dying in Adam's lane as well, by the way. He might want to try and adjust his split to stop that happening on 17, because that Dark Mage buff is going to be really powerful for him.
Yeah, I mean, he has a bunch of units that can take advantage of it, so we'll see if he can fix his split a little bit. I mean, he does have this one chilling out in the middle of the
Yeah.
lane. So he that one might not be savable.
I think
But
all he needs to do is sell this Polywog, though, and then his
oh
Dire Raiders
yeah,
will stay
yeah.
alive.
He,
So,
he has like a few range units, and then Chaos just keeps giving him different tier ones. So
yeah, very skilled Chaos player,
ooh,
by the way, rolling the banana bunk for wave 17 and the
yeah, and
APS.
the APS, yeah. And we'll see where he puts the. Oh, he can't even get out of Haven, but I
Everybody's
think it'll be
sends
okay.
are massive here. Drachir does have the highest value, and he's got a pretty good build for the wave, actually, with the APS, MPS, 4 Trinity Archers, all with hero, and good tanks as well with the Royal Guard. Adams may
Yeah.
even just full hold. Drachir, sorry, may even just full hold.
Yeah, I suspect that he has a very good shot. His Sovereign is even like perfect split tank. I mean,
That's
look at that
really
aggro.
juicy,
Great
actually, on
positioning
that
from
Sovereign.
Drachir.
It does die now, but it's done its job, and the archers are
I
just
mean, the wave is dead.
obliterating the wave. That's an easy full hold there from Drachir. Let's see how everybody else is doing.
mean,
Adams
Lucy
is
has
doing
no
extremely
chance.
well as well. He's holding. Lucy leaks pretty
Adams is
big though.
holding.
129%, and Jenham, he leaks, but only very small, 73% there. This does look like a one trade on the side of nice luck, actually, with Lucy leaking way more than Jenham.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough since Lucy's build is just not equipped for this wave at all. Like, so much magic damage, so much Swift Arcane, but Drachir's actually covering in the mid really well. I mean, same with Adamas.
That's very
It's going to be
important.
Baby King damage for both teams, and now it comes down to whether or not you think you can win by pushing for 19, like Jenham is, or whether or not you can win by overbuilding, which it looks like Lucy and Drachir want to do.
Yeah, I mean, Jenham is full pushing, so Drachir has to be able to hold the suicide
Oh.
push, it looks like. He is
Drachir looks like he has
good.
the read back. Or,
Okay.
I mean, he's pushing more, which is the correct call, but obviously not committing to the Sui. I mean, part of this comes down to if Lucy can just hold. I
Yeah.
mean, we
Lucy's
talked about her
very
build
good
having
on
problems,
19.
but
Lucy's very good on 19.
is
She's prepping those
yeah, it's a very
masks.
different equation.
She's prepping those masks here, so 4 of them are going to be tantrumed on 19. She'll be able to place another Haven as well.
And Drachir did push even more. I'm not sure he's going to commit to Sui, but they will see Jenham suing, I'm assuming. Just because they can read the values. But we'll see if that changes their approach to anything. And the Hades is a lot worse on 17 than it is on 19, where it can actually do damage against the Swift armor.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Drachir did not commit to the Sui. I mean, it's going to be a rough hold for Drachir. There's no doubt about that. He has really good units,
big
but
send from Jenham.
yeah, it's going to be like triple ram or close to that. Maybe like triple ram mole or like something where the archers just can't hit the wave. But
Yeah,
he's spamming bucklers, which are
Drachir's
extremely
best wave,
efficient.
though. Like, he has the perfect tanks here with the Royal Guard, and this is just so much damage with the hero, APS, MPS. 5 Trinity Archers, fully upgraded, about as stacked as you can get. He's going to do well here, even though the triple siege ram is a pretty big send.
I mean, the fact that he's 30 workers, like 6 ahead of Lucy, and still highest value on their team, like, he honestly has almost as good of a shot, but if you discount the fact he's getting a gigantic send.
Yeah. 1200 Mythium walked into Drachir's lane. Can he deal with it? The first siege ram is down, the mole is down, the wave is melting under the intense damage of those Trinity Archers. Holy moly, wave 19 just being cut apart like butter with a hot knife. Jenham, of course, leaking 120% with his suicide
Lucy
there.
holding well.
Lucy holding, Drachir
So they actually
holding
just
the
both
suicide
holds.
play. Adams holds as well, but I don't think he's ready for round 2.
Yeah, round 2 is looking challenging. He also picked up a few Trinity Archers of his own, but I mean, that looks like should be game. I mean, shaman in like half the wave. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
definitely game. That's a whoop-a-gugga right there with the Updogs taking game number 1 in style.
I mean, Drachir using Lucy's famous strategy of holding the Sui. Like, a really nice game from him. I mean, they had some... It just ended up being the waves that they had to send on. Like, forcing 17 and 19, where Drachir is just a complete beast. And same with 14. Like, he just had a perfect build for all of those waves.
Yeah, really nice controlling the pace of the game there, forcing the sends to come on all of Drachir's strongest waves. He easy holds 14, he easy holds 17, he easy holds the full suicide on 19, and that's just his game. You know, what can you do about it? Adams and Jenham, they played really well here, but it seems the Updogs were one step ahead of them the whole way.
Yeah, I mean, the normally we talk about Cartel having some downsides, that post 10 struggles, but
Yep.
Drachir was able to generate enough of a lead through his early game where he played really well, but with the power of his units, like taking advantage of that Harbinger, Green Devil, Archer like spike to just push really, really hard every time. Once he got to his sends, he just opens up his strong waves, and then he was able to scale really hard. I mean, he's income sending Adamas a lot, but somehow still keeping ahead of him.
Yeah, really, really nicely played there from Drachir and Lucy. I mean, they're just showing us why they were able to win the cup last month, and it looks like if they keep up this level of play, man, they've got a really good shot to take it again in April. But we'll have to see, because Adams and Jenham are not going to let them get there easily.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to. I mean, it wasn't like it was the game wasn't close. I think Jenham got a little bit behind off that 8 leak into 9 resend. That ruined his game a little bit, so that was a great opening by Lucy that she found. And he just never quite got to scale up to his build. We talked about taking the battle scars for the Dread Knight, but it never managed to get onto the Dread Knight.
Yeah.
So he had a little bit of. I think it was honestly a strange moment where all 4 players were planning to skip 13 and go 14, but expecting the other people to send 13.
Yeah.
So Drachir was the only one who managed to build for both waves with the Avenger, and the rest of them, like Phantom, didn't even get his DK on 14, I think. So
No, I know. And there were some really nice plays there, like with Jenham fully shifting his gold on wave 15. I think he had something like 2.7k value there on 15. Maybe even hoping that he would have like pro leaked or something to try and force the send on 16, where he would have had 3 death caps. But it didn't work. Lucy and Drachir, they didn't take the bait and ended up with the Updogs winning the game by not taking that bait, right? Like, I think if they take that bait and send on 16, where Jenham has 3 death caps, maybe this game has a different ending. But yeah, very nicely played by both teams.
Would have opened them up for 18, where Drachir is definitely weak with all his Trinity Archers.
Absolutely.
But let's see, no more Cartel, no more Greed for Drachir and Lucy. Let's see what they adapt with. So cash out.
No messing about here. We're straight into game number 2. There is a 1-0 advantage on the side of the Updogs. Drachir going cash out. Okay.
Jenham has a roll.
Chaos. Oh, Jenham does
an
have
absolute
a roll.
roll.
Yeah, he's got Flower Angler, one of the best, most aggressive openers in the game, with the Berserker to cover those really weak waves on, say, 6, 10, stuff like that. So he's looking pretty spicy.
Yeah. I mean, even the looter, if he wants it. I mean, the slime can be strong with that opener. The Tree of Life we know is completely insane with the Kingpin. And it looks like he's going to prefer to go Tree of Life with the Angler and also get some pack rats involved.
Okay, I mean, Jenham is known for his rat play. He's known as the Rat King in certain circles. So we'll have to see if he's able to pull this one off here.
I mean, we got these 2 combo of units early game is just really exceptional. Like, as soon as you get the combo online, it's like you can't leak the mid game at all. Like, you can literally watch your Kingpin 1v1 an Ogre with the just never taking damage from it. With the Tree of Life. Yeah, it's honestly like incredibly strong, and I think Drachir and Lucy are aware of it. So we'll see how they play around the Kingpin power split, because that is going to decide a lot of this game, I think.
Alright, we have king upgrades coming out from all 4 players, so nothing particularly spicy here at the start of game number 2. Lucy with the Priestess, she doesn't have the Mask, but she does have the Ranger, which is a very close second in terms of power levels. She also has that Berserker for wave 10 as well, by the way, so Lucy's role is looking pretty good. But yeah, Jenham's is very strong.
Yeah, I think the only thing I don't see is anyone with a strong Magician role yet. Obviously with the reroll or with Chaos we might see one develop, but that's something to look for, because otherwise you just have Lone and PTA basically countering each other out. Can't really go aggressive on 11 with PTA, just because Lone is there, but you could try and, beta Lone, and actually Jenham gets a snail here.
That's post-income, right, from Lucy, it is. So we'll have to see if it pays off, and it looks like it will. The Angler's dying very quickly. Jenham definitely not expecting this post-income snail here, but a nice read from Lucy. That's going to be a
Yeah,
big
kills
leak.
the angler, and yeah, the leak hurts because he has rats.
Yeah, okay.
Even
I mean,
if it's
I
just
say a big
this.
leak, it's 33%, but yeah, exactly. He has the rats, so long waves are bad for him when Drachir and Lucy both have more workers, and also it's permanent damage done to that angler because it died really quickly. It's missing out on those all-important stacks.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get enough here, because that would be the important break point for it. Like if you can get uh all the wave 3 stacks, then you're usually in a good spot for 4. But it looks like he has some weird goal. I would think that he needs to sell here, but oh, he's just keeping his rat up. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, he's playing it. But yeah,
So
he
he's gonna catch
definitely needs to
this.
make sure he gets those stacks on the angler this wave. And the thing
Actually, this
is
angle looks-
suicidal. Like, it's run in front of the tree, but it looks like he's going to be okay. Or is he?
Oh,
Angler!
or is he? Yeah.
You really want those wave 3 stacks,
Oh,
but that thing
no.
is getting speed run down.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like this positioning, the tree just, its range is just a bit too long, and
Yeah.
Angler's a bit too happy to get into the fight, so
Yeah,
he's
he's
usually gonna
leaking
go for a
again,
little
by
leak.
the way. This time to just 2 snails. 28%. I mean, the leaks are small, but it's long waves, while Drachir and Lucy have a worker advantage, though Adams has now caught up and taken the lead. But it's just those stacks, like, you were talking about how strong the Tree of Life and the Kingpin is. Well, sure, but the Kingpin gets a lot of its extra HP from that mana. So if it's losing out on these stacks in the early game, it's just going to be that much smaller when it is eventually turned into a Kingpin.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely hurts the power spike. Usually we talk about 3 and 7 as like the best stacking waves, and we've missed out on one of them, so we'll see if the bounty can maybe recover by then, but definitely not the perfect start you envision.
Yeah.
And looks like Drachir is getting the big send here, 100 from Venom, all in snails. I think he's just going to be completely fine. Great split aggro between his 2 units, and
Does that slime
it's gonna
money
let him
reach full
push.
mana? It does, yeah. I think with that full mana, it's just a guaranteed hold. But to be fair, I mean, it looks like it wasn't even close. 1 slime would have had the same effect here as 3.
And look at this, 8 workers on Drachir and Lucy now.
Yeah, well,
I
Genom
mean,
is still
Adamas
on
will-
5. He's not even pushing here. Like, he had the bounty hunter, he had 400 value. I assume that means he wants to hunt his rat, and yeah, there it goes.
Probably needs to either upgrade this or get another tree. I mean,
There's the
okay,
tree.
he needs to fix his split so he doesn't send the boss on a journey.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, this early game is definitely looking Drachir and Lucy favored. Adamas has a really nice power spike coming up. He split is... It's probably not going to make a difference, but Drachir is full sending him, so who knows.
Oh, yeah, the boss is going right there into that looter. Let's see if this mistake ends up hurting him. He does have a violet, so probably feeling pretty confident. But yeah, the boss is just chewing through all of those cheap units in the split. Let's see. The Trinity Archer is
Wait, the
taking
Archer's
the
getting
damage,
sniped?
actually.
What?
Trinity Archer getting shot over from behind the violet, but it looks like with that value and with that violet, it just doesn't matter how bad his aggro is.
I thought the idea was really nice, the range split to drag it back into the violet, but the boss had other plans.
Yeah,
So
the boss
now
was
he's
like,
on-
I can see that Trinity Archer. You're not escaping me.
But he's now on 9 workers, so we're talking about power spikes. Every tier 3 upgrade generally gives you a huge spike, so
Yeah.
it's a really nice spot. And let's see how Genom does, getting Lucy's big income send. We know how strong the Ashen is, and he has one very weak tree, one slightly weaker tree, so it's all going to come down to the slime army, basically.
Yeah. And Lucy does add the snail as well, so she's trying to get a leap here. And Genomy's not looking great, though. He definitely has the power of value on his side. The Cannoneer did not waste its second shot. I hate to see that when the Cannoneer, like, fires its 100 damage shot against a dead looter or something, but no, not baited into that here. Slime Mummy does reach full mana, so he's getting full value out of that unit, and it looks like with the power of value alone, Genom is able to hold this 120 Mythium send on his weakest wave, but meanwhile, Waldo over here, Adams, leaking 50% against 2 Dragon Turtles.
Yeah, just not ready for that resend. A little overestimation because his archer is dead with this positioning. If he didn't roll a melee unit...
lane. Like, I thought he was going to be completely fine, but yeah, his value much lower there than Genom's, and the Archer, when it gets run down by the Roccos, is just dead value.
Yeah, you really need to be careful with Archer. Even with the strong tier 3 like Violet that you would expect to solo the wave, Usually that's because it has melee units with it. Oh wow, a cheeky roll here.
That's interesting, that mole from Genom. He did have Mimic in income. And I feel like, yeah, like, sure, he didn't know about the Mudman. The Mudman is the perfect answer against a Mimic send, which Drachir is surely expecting. I'm just a bit confused as to why Genom didn't send it, because Mimic is so good against Slime Siren. Obviously, not only is it perfectly damaging the Arcane Slime Siren, but it gets you so much gold against all those slime spawns.
Yeah, and I think like maybe overestimating how strong the Aqua is and like how much he needs to focus on that, because I think Aqua is strong. Maybe he just expected Drachir to go purple Aqua here, and then the mole has quite a bit of value. But the way it looks is, look, he's sniping the Brood, he's getting the Aqua spawns, and I think even the Fire Aqua will tank after the Mommy dies, and it has so much HP it might just be fine.
I think he might leak the mole, but like nothing else.
Right, yeah.
And Lucy's leaking 74% there. It's only really the Mimic and a couple of stragglers. 12 gold on that Mimic. You know, it's nothing special to write home about, but Adams is pretty happy with 12 extra gold as well. And yeah, this mole is just absolutely invincible against the slimes.
Yeah, I mean, I just thinking if this was a Mythic, it would have been eating so good like you mentioned.
This is the first meaningful king damage, though, going to the side of nice luck. Drachir and Lucy dropping now below 80%, it seems, stabilizing around 70, 72? Okay.
Yeah, and it looks like they're content to just keep playing income, knowing perhaps that this is coming, and there's not really too much you can do with the save against it.
Yeah.
And Adams is taking advantage of the income for sure, because he's 13 workers, and he already unlocks one of the most powerful combinations, the Flying Archer.
Oh, Flying Archer, that's spicy.
That's something you have to be worried about in the late game for sure, because we saw APS Archer, like Flying Archer is up there with being just as strong as that combination.
It's so much damage. So much damage. Even on like waves where it shouldn't be, like fortified natural waves, the Flying Archer just seems to deal out insane amounts of DPS. But yeah, we get the income resends here. Genom, who does upgrade the Kingpin, is going to do fine. I mean, that's a pretty easy hold for him. And Adamus there with his Flying Archer. It does look like he's going to leak, actually, especially with that Archer just magnetically drawn to the Dino, it seems.
Yeah, he got caught a little bit. He has just no Arcane, is part of his issue. Like, he has the Yuzora, but his Arcane is one blob.
Yeah.
And a lot of his value is a bunch of tier 1s.
And this is going to be king damage, actually. The Kingpin not able to fully cover. And again, it all comes down to Genom losing those stacks earlier on, right? Because if the Kingpin had a little bit more damage, a little bit more HP, because it didn't die on wave 2 and 3, he can probably just full cover.
Yeah, and we're going to see a little counterpunch here. So the same sort of pattern happening with like small income leaks into big sends from Adamas and Genom.
Yeah, I mean, watching these two teams play is a bit like watching two guys in a bar just taking swings at each other, like one after the other. One of them throws a punch, the other one kind of staggers back and then throws the counter punch. And here comes that counter blow from Adams and Genom. We've got Mimic Mole.
Mimic Mole.
That is a
big juicy send. I mean, like,
the Mimic is just
it's literally 0 fortified natural units. So
Azaria does get her heal off and does kill the mole pretty quickly as well. But now she's dead.
Not long for this world, yeah.
And meanwhile, Drachir, it looks like he's going to leak as well, or is he actually? Those slimes just coming in clutch, giving him so much more stall. It looks like the ogre's getting through, but even that's on half HP.
Yeah, I mean, we will see some more king damage, but
all in all, it's not gold bad. On that Mimic for Adams. He's pretty happy with how this game is going so far.
Yeah, I think the thing to note is usually when you hold a send like that, it's because it was a longer save, so you'd be okay with the small hold, but this is really just a one-wave skip. Yeah. So it's actually a perfectly fine situation. It's not like Adams and Genom were starved of the game to make that play happen.
This whole game seems very fast-paced, right? Like, we're seeing really high work accounts in the early game. We're seeing big sends after single-wave skips. You know, there's none of this kind of 5-wave saves into Ogre on 7, everyone having to play slow and steady. It seems really fast and aggressive.
Yeah, a lot of income in this game. Like, you can see everyone reaching 200, probably going to be closer to 250 by 11. And the thing about that is, like, with high incomes, the cartel debuff doesn't hurt quite as much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's already far enough ahead, Lucy is, of Jenom to where cartel is worth it. She's 50 ahead of him, and only really... Okay, I would say 50, obviously she sent some king ups, so it's not quite even, but I think she is, like, gotten enough out of her cartel to not be behind after the debuff hits.
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at that income, actually, she's 4 income behind her dams and 20 ahead of Jenom. Now, of course, they did send only 3 regens there. They're planning to take this game late, it seems. They wanted maximum regen so they can start generating that precious resource, which is the King's HP. They want that to kind of come back over time so they can
Ooh,
maybe afford to leak a
PTA.
bit in the later game.
Are we... Do they have a plan? I think they want to go 12 and maybe protect their 13 a little bit because, I mean, here looks pretty good on 12, I won't lie, but like a big send could definitely get him, and we already know that Lucy has... She's starting to build some natural armor now, but definitely over-invested, if you will, into Arcane and Swift.
Yeah, for sure. Lucy can definitely leak on 12. Like, definitely leak on 12.
I like tax for both of them. It's definitely not as committal as loan would be to their income in case the save comes longer. And it gives them a little boost
A little
to hold this
staying power on
PTA.
that crucial wave 12. We'll have to see if they decide to match the send here on 12. Although with Drachir's build, it's not obvious that it's coming here. Like, he's really strong on wave 12. Really strong.
It's hard to say for sure. I mean, if he thinks he can hold, I would be hold and cover, then I feel like he should be happy to skip, but...
It's risky, though, with only 50% King HP remaining. Oh,
And
Dams
we're
and
just-
Jenom. Like, we're talking about all these mind games. They don't even send here.
It looks like no one thought that it could actually be 12, but I mean, look at Lucy's value. I feel like this is a pretty big leak to
Yeah.
500 something send, and same with Drachir. Even like you would catch him pre-building, right? And he doesn't even, so like something like an ogre or ogre mole pack or something. Like I feel like this should be a pretty big leak.
The sends
but
would
they
have been
don't.
massive. Like they have 550 Mythium each pretty much on a Dams and Jenom. This
I'm not sure
could
I
have been very dangerous
understand forcing 13 when your build is Archer Levi. I feel like they had a great plan to try and undercut the 13 where it looks like they're weakest because Genom's not even gonna have like the regen and stuff. He's just gonna have a solve.
Yeah. I mean,
but it is gonna be a
he actually
13
shifted
race.
300 gold here. I don't think he's going to have a solve. I think he's going to have a
okay.
Phoenix.
Oh, doing a little mind games here for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, oh, and Lucy is just gonna send the ogre. She was a little more patient. She could have got double 4R, which
Yeah. This
think
Kingpin's
she would've
taking a
wanted.
really long time to kill the wave. Like, it's
Yeah,
living
it would've
forever with
been-
that Tree of Life regen, but it's taking its sweet time. Lucy would have had the double 4-eyes.
Yeah, I mean this spot is rough because they have to hold really good, and this is their value just isn't there. Like their king is so low. Like
Yeah,
it has
they
to
can't
be
afford a leak here, really.
almost full holds would be what you want.
And I mean, Drachir's looking really strong here. He's only minus 300. He has the Leviathan buffed Arc. He has the full Sovereign, of course, as well. There's a double 4-eyes coming out from Jenom, but that's only really good against this one unit. It's bad against pretty much everything else on Drachir's board.
Yeah, he has odds for sure. And he's he is the highest value in the game. So
Yeah, he is. But he's also receiving a much bigger send. 720 for Drachir, 740 for Lucy. 200 Mythium more, pretty much, than what Adams and Jenom have to put up with.
and this
and that
Phoenix
Phoenix.
is
That Phoenix from
smurfing.
Jenom. It is doing Phoenix things.
yeah, really nice stuff. The 4 I just eyes closed,
It's
can't
just
see it.
Full holding, right? Or maybe a small leak. Adams leaks 94%, and Drachir does leak 67. It's only the 4-eyes, but is this lethal? They've got a lot of king upgrades, but it's all regen. They don't really have attack and spell upgrades. Jenom
Yeah,
leaks
it'll
very
be
small
close, I
there.
think.
This is going to be close, Ofma. I think this. I mean, it looks like they survived, but only barely.
Yeah, and the plus side here is now that both teams are in lethal range, because before, Jenom, and I think that's maybe why they were confident to skip. They wanted to go just try and knockout punch them and take whatever lead came, because they were full high king. But now, I mean, Drachir and Lucy have some agency in this game because they can actually kill the enemies, and Lucy looks like she's pushing very hard for
Okay.
15, and Drachir is overbuilding, so maybe a Sui play is coming, and this is not the right time for egg, I think.
Oh, damn, that is not the right time to egg. Oh dear,
Um,
oh dear. This could be
okay.
very dangerous on 15 now.
Yeah, and I mean, egging here means they want to skip, or I would assume that's what they want to do. He's hunting a million rats while and he's gonna be overvalued still, so maybe they can hold. It might have to be a full commit from Lucy and Drachir if they really want to
Phoenix
get them here.
Phoenix can be absolutely insane on wave 15 if it doesn't take full aggro. Like, if this thing is just split tanking the split shots from the wave and the octopus boss, it lives forever, it deals infinite damage, and just smurfs the wave. But if it does take full focus, especially from something like a Four Eyes, this can be very dangerous. And yeah, Adams and
It is
Jenim,
a full Sui.
they don't send here. And Lucy, as you say, is spending all
Dracir
her
is
gold
also
into
pushing to
workers.
no send. It's a full commit because they saw the egg. Like Dracir is hardening and built the Mudman, but like other than that, he pushed like 6 workers to no send.
Yeah.
So and Lucy is committed to this Sui. Jenim is on value, so
Jenham's actually over value. Like, when he finished his building, assuming he has a couple of rats.
yeah.
Oh, he's hunting.
Little bro?
Jenham! Yeah, Jenham! Hello!
Okay,
Uh-oh.
Shaman. Okay, so he sent. Oh, and the
And the
Cannoneer
Four Eyes is
pushes.
straight on the Phoenix of Jenham as well. This is what I was talking about. It dies very quickly, so instead of smurfing, that Phoenix is just dead meat. This is going to be a big leak from Jenham. It looks like a big leak from Adams as well. It looks like the Updogs
They're
have
dead.
just snatched this one from the jaws of defeat.
Oh man, I mean, this is the power of workers.
Yeah.
Like you can't always overbuild, because
Man.
if people push for stuff, like you really gotta overbuild. Like this egg ended up hurting them big time.
Yeah, but they were so confident there with Jenham even double hunting it. I mean, to be fair, 2 rats are making no difference against that size of
Yeah.
send. But yeah, really nicely played there for the Updogs, going for a big, aggressive undercut with a full suicide from Lucy into Jenham. 660 Mythium sent. Jenham did not stand a chance, and Adams as well. With that egg play, it really cost them here on wave 15.
Yeah, and I mean, if that wasn't an egg, he can maybe hold better considering he's on value, but it's tough calls for sure.
I mean, those regens, by the way, that they like maximized regen on wave 10, it probably won the game for them, honestly. They were at 38% health on wave 9, they were at 56%, maybe 60 for wave 13, and they survived that leak with 9% remaining. So without that regen, they were dead meat.
Honestly, a regen diff.
Regen diff, indeed.
Unusual to hear, but the truth in this case, it seems.
I've got to see the graph for this one. It looks closer than I expected. It felt like the Team Nice Luck were further ahead during the early to mid game. But yeah, actually the Updogs, they were slightly behind, it seems, according to Jules. But a really nice, aggressive undercut there with the wave 15 full suicide play. It's just beautiful to watch.
I think the early game, just Jenham got a little messed up just on the first few waves, but I mean, he brought it back so that he wasn't like out of the game or anything and had a lot of pressure to leak Drachir a couple times. But the king damage, it looks like, was just made up for the fact that Jenham just fell a little bit behind in that early. And even though Adams was ahead or even like about the same as Drachir and Lucy, that the little bit was able to give Drachir and Lucy enough to still have some chances in the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, man, what an exciting series, but that one was over quicker than I expected. I thought for sure we were going to see game number 3.
It felt that way with that King HP for sure.